Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, I am Danielle, and on this channel, I discuss all things reinvention, law school, grad school, caregiving, motherhood, my entrepreneurial journeys, ups, downs, highs, lows. I am a content creator located here in Baltimore, Maryland. Overall, this channel just basically covers my life, my interests, my ups, downs, highs, lows, and just the journeys that I'm on. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, please continue to watch. Hit the like button, subscribe, and do all of the things. All right, guys, let's hop straight into this video. Now, I'm going to be just straight up and honest with you. When we hear the term soft life, typically, we think of cars, clothes, shoes, vacations, and things that fall under that pillar. And so in this video, I plan to challenge that notion. Challenge it not because it is inherently wrong or incorrect, but I do believe it's incomplete. One of the things that I have come to realize, at least within and for myself, is that soft life is actually not about bags, shoes, clothes, vacations. I think for me and on this journey, I've learned that the real soft life for me is a regulated nervous system, peace, wellness, wholeness, true love, reciprocated efforts, self-awareness, self-love, self-appreciation, essentially becoming. I mean, honestly, I've experienced so much over the past few years. Through those experiences, I've learned that peace is actually quite expensive. And not expensive as in something that can be quantified with a monetary value, but expensive in the sense that it can be emotionally draining, be mentally draining, mentally taxing, spiritually draining, spiritually taxing, all of those things, specifically if you are not in or moving out of alignment with your true self and with true identity. Because of that, I've learned to put a framework into place that is helping me identify and maintain peace. And the framework I'm referring to is simply peace. This has helped me along my journey in rediscovering myself and I'm not going to say chasing, but building the life and the lifestyle that I feel is most aligned with my true sense of self. So P stands for protecting your boundaries, okay? I had to learn this because for such a long time, I would say yes when I wanted to say no. I would agree to things that I did not agree with. I would do things that I didn't want to do just to accommodate others and please others. And yes, that includes your children and family and significant others, all of the things. I've learned through this experience most recently that boundaries are necessary, but also boundaries are not something that can be moved, right? Like your boundaries should not be adjusted based on who it is that you're talking to or engaging with or the situation at hand. Your boundaries are essentially, they should be set in stone, right? And these are set in place, at least for me, as a form of protection. It's absolutely imperative that you structure your boundaries for where you are right now in life, right? Because where you are right now in life, hopefully you are at a stage and phase in life where you feel that you are aspiring to your higher self, right? And so the boundaries that you set in place not only protect who you are now, but they're there to protect the woman or the man or the person that you're becoming. With that being the case, you have to be okay with losing people, right? You have to be okay with being viewed differently because everyone is cool with you and loves you and thinks you're a likable person as long as they're benefiting from you. But the moment you begin to set boundaries in place and adhere to set boundaries and make sure that other people adhere to set boundaries, then you're not so cool anymore. You're not a nice person. You're not this, you're not that. And The reality of it is, I'm not here to be a nice person. I'm here to be a good person, but we all have a different definition of what nice looks like, right? And what's nice to you may not be nice to me. The most important thing that I've learned along this journey is that I absolutely have to be kind, nice, loving, supportive, respectful to self, right? Even if it makes other people uncomfortable. So that looks like saying no, right? And no is a complete sentence. Like you don't have to explain your no, right? It looks like setting your boundary and allowing people to know, I do not like when you do X, Y, and Z. And that's sufficient. I don't have to explain to you why I don't like it. If I don't like it, I don't like it. Like I don't have to go into detail and tell you why I don't like it. Those are my rules. Those are my feelings for self, right? And so I had to not only set the boundary and learn how to enforce it, but I also had to learn how to become comfortable with making other people uncomfortable and comfortable with me being uncomfortable initially because it was foreign to me, right? As I stated, I'm so used to just saying okay when I don't want to, doing things that I don't want to, accommodating others when I really don't feel like it. Like, and that takes a lot of adjusting. Like, you have to adjust in order to hold your boundaries. Like, it's absolutely necessary that you make those fundamental adjustments, and it will take time. And as you're going through this process, remember to be kind to yourself. All right, for letter E, E is to eliminate unnecessary stress. Okay, I found that for me, once my dad got sick and ultimately ended up passing away, my stress levels were at like its peak. And for me personally, that caused a lot of inflammation, a lot of health scares for myself personally, and a lot of things that I just never thought would be issues became issues. To the point where, I kind of worried myself into an autoimmune disease, right? I was so stressed. And when I sit down and really think about it, it was just compounding, right? Because there were stressors and stressful events and traumatic events and all of the things that I had obviously experienced prior to my dad's falling ill, but those things weren't addressed properly, right? And when you're young and you're not really aware of certain things, you feel invincible. You feel like this too shall pass, right? But the reality of it is trauma, stress, all of those things live within our bodies, right? It causes inflammation, it causes headaches, it causes gut issues, it causes a myriad of things. It causes autoimmune diseases. And so stress plays a major factor in our health, not just physically, obviously, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It was creating a bunch of brain fog for me. I was just very disoriented. And so I made the conscious decision to consciously let go of stress. And I must say, if I'm being very open and honest and candid, that's something that I'm still working on, and I haven't reached, the ceiling in that area yet, because I'm still a very like high strung person, and so things that I probably shouldn't worry about as much as I do, sometimes I find myself worrying. And because I am a single mother, because I am a caretaker to my mom who also has dementia, because I am a business owner, because I wear so many hats and all of the things, stress is a part of my daily life. I think what I'm learning to do more of is to be intentional, right? About how much time I give stressful moments and stressful events. Because the reality of it is for me that these things are not going to go away. I don't have the luxury to say, okay, well, I don't want to deal with this anymore, so I'm not going to. The reality of it is I'm still going to have to deal with this, right? Because this is my life currently. And so I think the biggest lesson I'm learning in this moment and have been for the last year is how to better mitigate those things, right? How to better handle those things. Everything should not be a level 10. And in my previous ways of handling things, everything was always a level 10, right? Even in my profession, I am a criminal defense paralegal. And so I work in a very high stress job. So I had to learn how to mitigate and handle even the responsibilities at work, right? I had to learn how to not allow my attorney's stress become my stress. If they're waiting to the last moment to do things, or if they forget something and they are extremely stressed and they come to me stressed out, I had to ensure that I had a boundary in place so that I didn't allow their stress to then become my stress. When I'm meeting with clients and they're obviously stressed out because they have the potential to spend life in prison or something of the sort, or just jail time in general, which is obviously a stressful circumstance, I had to have healthy boundaries and make sure that I do not allow their stress to become mine. It's really important for me, essentially, because I don't want to tell you what to do, but I know for me, it's very important to always gauge energies, right? Because energy is transferable. And when you're in certain environments and when you're engaging with certain people or doing certain things, energy is transferable, right? And so you have to have safeguards in place to ensure that your energy remains yours and no one else's, and theirs remains there. You know what I mean? All right, moving right along to letter A, okay? A is to audit your environment. I had to radically audit my environment, okay? And what I mean by that is to take a good, hard, and long look at the people, places, things, conversations, just any and all things that you are consuming in any form. Ask yourself, is this healthy for me? Is what I'm doing in this moment, is who I'm engaging with in this moment, is this conversation, is this environment, is this whatever, is this healthy for me? For the healthiest, most elevated version of myself? Is this, what I'm doing in the moment, feeding that or hurting that? Is it pushing me towards my higher self or drawing me away from my higher self? And that was something that I had to do and do frequently and radically. I had to accept that no, majority of the things that I was participating in, the people that I was allowing into my space, some of the environments, even some of the music I was listening to, some of the things I would put into my body, some of the people I had relationships with that I called friend, I had to really reevaluate. And then I had to reevaluate some more, and then some more, and then some more, to the point where now I have one main friend, right? And that's okay. Initially, when the shedding was happening, it's like, wow, I felt lonely. I felt very out of touch. And I would cry and I would ask God certain questions and we would have this dialogue. But ultimately, I had to, point out or acknowledge and then accept that these people, places, things, conversations, whatever, was not in my best interest, no matter if it was presented on a silver platter, right? Like, our vices or the things that are there to harm us, they don't always show up as such, right? Most of the time they show up neatly packaged. They show up in a pretty package. They show up as something that you like, right? And you have to be honest with self. You have to be self-aware enough to identify that although the packaging is gorgeous, right? You know that what's actually inside is harmful. It's like, I mean, if you're dying of thirst and then I give you water, but I put a drop of poison in it, and it's in like a Stanley cup, and it's pretty, and it's all of the things, like, you're not going to drink the water because you know it's causing you harm, right? And sometimes that's hard to do. Sometimes it's hard to look past what you like and what is attractive to your eye and be mature enough and self-aware of enough to say that this, although it presents well, is not healthy for me. It isn't good for me, right? And I think society has done such a good job at trying to, and in some cases succeeding in, having a large portion of the population desensitized desensitized to self, right? Because when you really think about it, and you're doing certain things, you're engaging in certain things, and then something happens and you say to yourself, man, I knew I shouldn't have did X, Y, and Z. It's because, like, you had that feeling. You know, it isn't always, it's not always something that kind of can be like quantified, or it's not something that can always be explained. But it's like sometimes you have that feeling. Or if you're doing something and something happens and you'll say, man, I knew this was going to happen, or I knew. It's like because innately, like, you know, right? But society and the world and just substances or negative influences or social media or whatever the case may be has done such a good job at detaching you from you that you no longer trust self. You trust everything but self. And I think for me, on this journey, I've learned to reconnect. I'm in the process of reconnecting with self, and my highest form of self, right? Because I know she is not going to fail me. I've always, especially when I was younger, been really big on like listening to self, right? Like, and sometimes it's like a feeling that you will get, or maybe a thought that you will have, or maybe the hair stand up on you when something, it's just, it's very settled nuances that take place. But God has wired us in a way that we know, and the more and more you get tapped into self, tapped into your higher power, whatever that may be for you, you are more inclined to just go with self, even if it's the unpopular choice, right? And in the end, it all works out. It all works out. So that's the thing that has definitely helped me immensely, is to audit radically and unapologetically. All right, now let's move along to C. Baby, in C, maybe arguably the most important, specifically for me, and that is care for your body. Because, baby, your girl was not drinking water. I wasn't getting proper rest. I wasn't taking my vitamin. I was just going, girl, and I was almost gone, okay? And as a caregiver, as a mom, as a woman, specifically a black woman, we have been fed the lie by society and the powers that be to just keep going. You're strong, keep going, you got it, you can do it. No. I don't subscribe to that. Like, at the end of the day, I landed myself in the hospital due to lack of rest. I just told you I worried myself into an autoimmune disease. Rest is not earned. Rest does not need to be earned. Rest is a requirement. Rest is a requirement. Rest is, quite frankly, a commandment, right? And not resting because you're tired, resting because you need to be restored and replenished, in addition to being satisfied with what you've already done, right? And I know for me specifically, and for a lot of people like me, specifically black women, we do not take time to appreciate and relish in our accomplishments. It's very much a what's next type of mindset, right? And when you do that, it's a plethora of things that kind of happens at once, even if it's unintentional. First things being is that you're not showing yourself gratitude. You're not thanking your body for getting you through this stint in life. You're not thanking your body for being well enough and healthy enough and strong enough for having made it possible for you to accomplish that goal you just accomplished, right? Additionally, when we do things like, okay, what's next? We are not taking the time to reflect and show gratitude for the experience, of being able to have that experience and be able to feel in depth what it feels like to accomplish those goals, right? Additionally, we are not adhering to God's commandments, right? It's literally a commandment to rest, right? Like, I know there's a big dispute about which day the Sabbath is on, but the part that's specific to this conversation is that you're supposed to rest, right? And resting because even God himself rested, not because he needs rest or he has human qualities or whatever the case may be, but he rested because he was satisfied with what he had created thus far. And us as humans need to understand that our body is a tool, essentially, right? And I know we like to dress her up and doll it up and do all of the wonderful things to this meat suit and to go on vacation and take bubble baths and get our nails and hair, like all of the things to this meat suit. But the reality of it is it needs restorative rest, right? Not rest like I'm going to take a nap. Although that helps because, baby, in these late 30s, I love me a good nap. Okay, don't get it twisted. But I mean restorative rest. Rest that allows your body to be restored, where it allows your mind to be free. It allows your nervous system to relax and reboot. It allows your brain to clear out all of the junk and the gunk that's unhealthy. It allows you a moment of, you know what I mean? It allows you the time. And essentially, you're showing respect to yourself. You're reaffirming your importance. You are important enough to rest. You should not feel guilty for having restorative rest, right? You should not push yourself past your limits. And one of the biggest things that I found for myself was that, girl, I didn't know my limits because I had been going and operating on autopilot for so long, girl. The limits, in my mind, girl, I was a no-limit soldier. I thought I told you, okay? The limits were non-existent. I was just pushing. Pushed myself right into a sickness, okay? And it's unfortunate that that's a lot of our realities because, again, we are mothers. And even if you're not a mother, you may be a caregiver, whether it's to a parent, a family member, a friend, a spouse, whatever, you are a caregiver. It's just a myriad of things that's always taking place, things that are always needing to be done. The profession I work in is a helping and giving profession. Much like most women, I'm an entrepreneur, so that requires me to give. I have a nonprofit, so that requires me to give, right? And essentially, I just lost sight of my limits. And it becomes problematic when you give so much that you're operating in a role that was never designed for you to operate in or from, right? You know, when my dad ultimately got sick initially, I lost 30 pounds in 1 month due to stress, right? And one of the major issues at the time, or I saw it as one of the contributing factors to my health and just the spiral of hell that was taking place, I just constantly kept saying, like, I can't fix it. I can't fix it. I can't fix it. And although it was and remains a very hard pill for me to swallow, I feel like in that, amongst so many lessons, God showed me that some things you're not supposed to fix, right? Some things it's not meant for you to fix. And so I had been operating from the space of a fixer for so long, specifically with people that I love and just in my everyday life, because that's my role. Like, I fix things, I get things. The things that everyone says can't be done, I do them and I get them fixed. And people come to me for certain things that they themselves can't do, and I do it. I'm able to fix it. But this was so personal because this was my father, and my father is quite literally my best friend. His name is tattooed on my shoulder here. And he and I always had like the best relationship since I was younger, all the way up until he passed. And I mean like anything you could possibly think of that I've ever experienced in life, my dad would fix it. And vice versa. As I got older and he got older, if he ever needed anything and he couldn't do it himself, or he couldn't do, I will always fix it. And that became our relationship. And in his passing, I realized that I was very codependent on my father. Sorry, y'all. I was very codependent on my dad. And to see my father laying in the hospital bed, and I mean, there was absolutely nothing I could do. And I just kept telling everyone that asked me, like, when they would say, what's wrong? How do you feel? When they would ask me, and everyone who would ask me, like, how do you feel? How do you feel? I would say to them, I can't believe that I can't fix this. And that was just one of the hardest things for me to grasp and accept. And I wasn't accepting it, right? And ultimately, me not accepting that caused me to become extremely sick. And oh wow, can I believe this? Hold on. Sorry, y'all. Sorry. And ultimately, me not accepting my dad's current state at the time, it led me to become extremely sick. I lost 30 pounds in 1 month, and I landed myself in the hospital several times. I experienced my first panic attack, and essentially I was just in and out of the hospital for quite some time because I really don't know how to explain this. So I'm going to try the best that I can. But the feeling that I had is like I just carried my dad with me, right? Like I carried him in my soul. Like I felt him in my being, right? And ultimately, I never fully understood or even grasped the term when people say like you can die from a broken heart, or people get sick, or you even see like when older couples, like when one passes, generally the other passes not too long after. But when my dad got sick, I fully understood what that meant, and in every way I felt exactly um, what that was like, um, as did my mom. Soon as my dad got sick, my mom's dementia skyrocketed. My mom is up in age, she's in her 70s, and so she would forget a few things here and there, but nothing like how it is now. And so when my dad got sick, her dementia definitely became extremely noticeable, and it just skyrocketed. And so throughout that process and talking with specialists, doctors, a lot of whom would tell me like, we don't really know for sure. I can't really identify, I'm not really seeing. And then the more and more I went to specialists and doctor visits after doctor visits, and I kept hearing the same thing, it finally clicked. Like, it was the stress, right? It was the stress, and it was essentially the grief and the anger that I had, because I just no longer had my dad in the capacity in which I was used to having him. And so the caring for self is arguably for me the most important, because I went through like 2 years of just horrible health, all rooted in stress and grief and anger, which was triggered by ultimately my dad getting sick. I want to drive home the fact that you have to take care of yourself. I mitigate my stress, and I'm really, really, really intentional about regulating my stress and how long I allow something to stress me out, right? I'm intentional about how much energy I give certain things, which has helped me immensely. I want to just drive home the fact that I want you to take care of yourself. Start small. Start with walking up and down the steps. Take the steps instead of the elevator. Drink one more glass of water than you typically would. Start small. Don't overwhelm yourself or your body. And just remember that it's all connected. Despite what, social media or society or whomever may say, body, soul, mind, spirit, everything is all connected. You can't separate one from the other. So when I say take care of yourself, I mean holistically, right? In all areas. Just do something different. Do something that's outside of your norm, that's healthy for you. All right, last but not least, we are at letter E in our word peace. And that is to enjoy life, baby. If anything, this experience has taught me that nothing is promised aside from death, right? You have to enjoy life. Don't wait until you are rich. Don't wait until you have the car. Don't wait until you have the girlfriend, the boyfriend, the family, the ring, the this, the that, baby. You are you are the program. Nothing is bigger than you, okay? It's you. It's always been you. Like, enjoy your life. Because one thing about me, even if I have to do it alone, I'm going to do it. I'm doing what makes me happy. I don't have to explain to you why I like it. I don't have to explain to you why I enjoy it. This is what I enjoy, right? Don't wait for your friend who won't leave out the group chat. Y'all keep talking about it in the group chat. Go. Do the thing. Write the book. Go on the trip. Go to the museum. Do the thing. Like, you know what it is. Do the thing. You are the program. And nothing is bigger than the program. You're the program. Yeah. What the kids say, you're the birthday. It's you. It's always been you. So that is the most important thing, to enjoy your life unapologetically, however that may look. All right, guys, we are at the end of our peace framework. But before you go, I do want to give you 7 practical tips to add to what we've already gone over. Number 1, you want to put your phone down for at least an hour, okay? Girl, whatever they have to tell you can wait. Again, it's about you. Put your phone down for 1 hour. Give your mind a break, your brain a break, your body a break, your neck a break. Constantly having your... Just give yourself a break. Number 2, okay, schedule your rest like an appointment. There is no negotiating on your sleep, okay? I'm in my late 30s, and baby, when a nap calls my name, I answer every time. The world stops. I don't have to wait until I'm taking a nap, okay? And if I want to take more than one a day, I'm going to. Especially fighting this low vitamin D, your girl be tired, okay? I will take the nap, and you should too. Schedule rest. Number 3, where I'm at, obviously, I'm in Maryland, so, it's warm out. At least warmer than it has been. So you want to make sure that you are getting out and about, walking outside for at least 20 minutes. Even if you're in cold areas, bundle up, get that blood flowing, and walk at least 20 minutes. If you have to do like the old folks do, go inside of a mall, walk around the mall. Don't take your credit card, girl. Don't take that debit card. Don't spend no money. Walk. Walk. Even if you have to walk up and down your stairs. Walk. Get that blood flowing for at least 20 minutes. Number 4, leave any and all conversations that drain you in any capacity. If you find yourself being depleted after a conversation, if you find yourself being depleted after a text, if you find yourself not feeling any better or having grown after conversations or text messages or whatever, leave it. And you don't have to explain why. Leave it. You owe you. They don't owe you anything. Leave it. If the conversations are not stimulating, if you find that they're draining you and harming you in any way, leave. Roll out like Ludacris. It's time to go. Number 5, we are going to create just start with one nighttime routine, okay? It doesn't have to be a 12-step face care, skin care. It doesn't have to be. You could just read 5 pages of a book. Have a glass of tea. Say your prayers. 3 positive affirmations. Girl, put lotion on your feet. Anything. 1 ritual before you go to bed. 1 self-care ritual before you go to bed. Number 6, long gone are the days where we over-explain ourselves. Stop over-explaining yourself. Like I told you earlier, no is a complete sentence. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I don't have to explain why I don't like it. Stop over-explaining yourself. You are the program, and nothing is bigger than you. Not even their wigs, girl. Nothing is bigger than you. Stop over-explaining. And number 7, last but not least, we are going to do one thing weekly that just brings us joy. Pure joy. That's it. One thing that makes you happy, that ruffles your feathers in a good way. One thing that makes you feel more childlike. Me, I got me some coloring books. Look, I like to color. Sometimes I like to run outside in the rain when it rains. Sometimes I like to act like a kid. Tap in to my highest, truest form of self when I was the most free. That's what I like to do from time to time. I have a little puppy. His name is Bean. He and I, we wrestle sometimes, you know. I like to scare my kids for no reason. You know, I like to do things that make me happy and bring me pure joy. And if you don't know what brings you joy or makes you happy, that's a sign that you need to learn yourself. And so try a multitude of things. All right, guys. with all of that being said, this concludes this video. So if you found this video helpful in any way, please like, share, comment, subscribe. It really helps me out. And do me a huge favor. Share this with someone who you think may need to hear it. Come back to it and watch it again if you need to hear it again. I will see you in the next video, and I love you so much. Thanks for watching. Bye.